welcome back to the eighth episode of the Dose podcast. Yes, I know it's been a minute. I know people are messaging me, when's the Dose coming back? Yada, yada, yada. We've got things to do, places to be, all that good stuff. But we're back now. We're going to give, I would say it's weekly dose, but it's more like bi-weekly, every 3 weeks. But regardless, the stuff that we're about to kick today is going to change your life, you dig. So to reintroduce ourselves, I'm T, I'm the owner of Yak, and I'm with my mentor, Tony.
Hey, what's good, y'all? The reason we call it the dose is the same reason that we do this every couple of weeks. Because if we gave this to you motherfuckers once a week, it would be called the overdose. Because you niggas wouldn't know what to do with all that game. You probably fuck around and have a heart attack or a seizure or some shit like that.
And even that in and of itself is going to fly over a lot of people's heads, but I'm not going to go into that. So cool. Today, what are we speaking on? So I did a Q&A on my story a few days ago, just asking what questions you have for myself and Tony. And we're just going to kind of not really go through the questions, but antithesize some of the questions that were asked. So some of the questions that were asked were things like, how do you get a woman obsessed? Or how to become funny? And for what seems like fairly kind of innocent questions, what we understand is the deeper underlying meanings behind those. That's what we're going to break down for you in order to take you to that next level. And essentially, with questions such as those, you're trying to run before you can walk. How to be funny, how to get her obsessed. All of these things are based upon who you are. So, the saying I've always said is the game's not on you, it's in you. But at the same time, everything is contingent upon the man that you are. Meaning, the game that you spit to a woman, or if you're on a sales call, if you're doing whatever, that's amplified by the man that you are. So one example that I gave for my boys in the syndicate was the Michael Jackson when he just stood there just staring at people. If I can remember, I'll put like a little clip of what it looks like. I don't know if it'll be copyrighted or anything like that, but essentially he just stood on stage just staring out at people before a performance, and people are passing out. They're going crazy, they're hysterical, they're crying, all that kind of thing, simply because he's just stood there. But it's also because he's built himself into a man that is so cold to where people, they get into that state of hysteria just by looking at him. And essentially his presence is so big that he can do something that's so simple and people perceive him as essentially a god. And that's all, again, built upon the fact that he built himself into this certain type of man. So getting a woman obsessed isn't about the things that you do. Obviously, that's a part of it, but it's more about the man that you are. Again, with being funny, that's even a whole kind of different discussion that we have time we'll get into. But again, that depends on the man that you are. Some people are funny, some people are goofy, some people, they're the kind of romantic types. And you have to find what your game is and then double down from that in order to mold it into who you want to be. Because at the end of the day, if you're not funny, you're not funny. And if you're even over the age of like 11, bro, if you're not funny, there's no amount of trying to be funny is going to help you be funny because that's just not who you are. But at the same time, you do have a set of skills, you do have a superpower, which you might not know yet, but that superpower will be one of the things that you can really double down on and make it part of your game. And as a result, that's how you're going to become the man that you are, but also attract the things that you want. But Tony, go ahead and break it down, man.
All right, man. Well, I just want to say that the way you explained that shit was real smooth. But me personally, I'm not about to be so nice. The reason you niggas do not have a girl obsessed over you is because you ain't obsessed about you. Why in the fuck would a bitch, why would you as a man expect a woman to be more obsessed over you than you are about you? How does that make any sense? You know, he just made that Michael Jackson illustration, right? Do you think Michael Jackson wasn't obsessed with being Michael Jackson? You think that motherfucker wasn't? How many hours do you think he danced before he even got famous? How many hours a day do you think that motherfucker danced and sang? More than you could imagine, more than you ever would do anything. That's who he is. He knows who he is, and he knew what he wanted, and he knew who he was, and he knew what he was going to be. You don't. That's why everyone's obsessed with him, and everybody knows who Michael Jackson is, and nobody knows who you are. Now, is the whole goal talking about being famous? No. But he was obsessed with him. I'm obsessed with me. He's obsessed with T. One thing about T is T loves some motherfucking tea. And one thing about me, I love motherfucking me. And not only that, I love being me to the point to where I work on me. Do you love you to the point to where you're working on you? Well, if you're, what would you call it? If your definition of work is going on the internet and asking us crazy ass questions, well then yeah, sure, you do the work. Definitely not mine. Definitely not my definition. I can't speak for T, but I'm pretty sure that's definitely not his definition because I see the work he does and it's not like the work you guys do. And I see where he's at and it's not where you're at. And I see where I'm at and it's not where you guys are at. So here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this. You're not obsessed over you, so why would she? She ain't never gonna love you more than you love you. Now that goes both ways. You should love you more than she would ever love you no matter what. That's a goal. That's something you should consciously have set for you, that you love yourself more than you love anybody else. The only thing worth loving more than you is God and what God tells you to do. That's the only thing worth loving more than you. As far as the shit on this earth that you can see, that you can taste, feel, touch, you should be the number one goal. You should love you more than anyone else. Even if you have kids, you should still love you more than anyone else. Because if you don't put yourself first, you're going to make a half-assed dad, a half-assed husband. If you can't make sure you're happy, how you think you're going to make a bitch happy? So what I'm saying is this. If you're not obsessed with you, she's not going to be obsessed. And then on the other hand, just like I said, you have to have it to where you love you more than she loves you. At the same time, that should be a personal challenge. You should be finding ways for this bitch to love you more and more and more. But the way to do that is to find new ways to love yourself more and more and more. So here's what you guys will do. You'll go spend $200 on a pair of Jordans. And for those of you guys that don't wear Jordans, you're going to completely miss the point. You're going to say, oh, I would never spend $200 on a pair of Jordans. I'd spend $200 on a pair of Versace sunglasses. Okay, maybe that's not the same thing in your mind, but it's the same fucking thing. You guys will spend $200 on a pair of Versace sunglasses. You'll spend $100 on some fucking consultation. You'll spend money on shit that you know is not going to actually make you any different. But you'll shiver. You'll fucking shiver at the thought of giving me some fucking dough or giving T some fucking dough to actually teach you where you know the game is at. You know for a fact, anybody listening to this shit right now knows for a fact that if you drop the dough and you get into school, his syndicate in my school, you know for a fact you're going to change, but you don't join. Why? Because you don't really want change. You don't actually want change. You need to realize that. If you did, you'd be one of the many people that are fucking with him and fucking with me. Are we the only ones that teach this shit? Actually, yeah. We're the only ones you got access to teach this shit. I know all the other big dudes and the other big guys don't want to have nothing to do with you motherfuckers. Here's what I'm saying. You guys will avoid the real work. But I'm going to go ahead and get off that heavy subject. You guys are not obsessed with you. When I wake up in the morning, I think about today. I don't think about tomorrow. I don't live in a state of anxiety. I live in a state of fucking zen. Today is the day that I worry about. Today is the day that I focus on. And even if I can't make a big move today, I'll make a small move in a big way. I'm concerned with my conduct. I'm concerned with how I look. I'm always ready to go. I'm never not ready to pop. I'm always clean shaven. I'm always clean. I'm always dressed clean. I wear clothes that work for me. I wear shoes that work for me. My car is nice. My car is clean. My teeth are clean. I'm put together 100%. That's who I am. I know who I am, and I have standards for everything in my life. I make firm, strong eye contact. I have a solid handshake. I have a solid walk. People look at me just from the way I walk because I'm obsessed with myself. The same way you guys are all obsessed with something. And about none of you are obsessed with you. Think about that. You guys are all obsessed about something, and it's not you. Why would this girl be obsessed with you? How could you expect for you guys to not be obsessed with you, but to expect this girl to be obsessed with you? That's literally asking the bitch to outwork you. Why would you want your woman to outwork you? How are you the leader? You want your bitch to outwork you in anything. Even if it's fucking with you and loving you and being obsessed with you. How could you let this bitch outwork you? I'm down. I'll be downed. Bitch ain't never gonna love me the way I love me. You know, she could try. She ain't never gonna catch up. I started off words ahead, chapters ahead. Now I'm books ahead. You know, she doesn't even understand who I am. She doesn't know me on the level that I know me. And that comes from the work. That comes from the work of understanding who you are and fixing yourself, making it an obsession. See, here's what you guys don't realize. You can take anybody who's ever done anything. Just the first thing that came to mind was Tupac, made himself a multi-millionaire rap career. Do you think he wasn't obsessed with him before he got to that point? Before he got to be obsessed with Tupac the rapper, he was obsessed with Tupac the person. Anybody. Elon Musk. You think Elon Musk wasn't obsessed with success before he became Elon Musk and started Tesla? His obsession with Tesla is a byproduct of his obsession with himself. Michael Jackson. You guys see Michael Jackson on stage. You guys see Michael Jackson singing and dancing on stage. You guys don't see Michael Jackson at home practicing dancing and singing for fucking, I'd bet 10 hours a day. I'd bet he woke up and danced and sang until he went to sleep. Think about actors, Mel Gibson, Tom Cruise. You guys see them on screen. You guys don't see them in the mirror practicing lines, taking voice classes, taking music classes, working out for their next role. You guys don't see that shit. That's behind the scenes shit. But the behind the scenes shit is everything. But this is a generation that's so caught up on the screen. You guys don't see that the reality is what goes on behind the screen. To the point where all of these people that you see that are famous are completely different people behind closed doors. Did you guys know that Elon Musk cusses? Did you guys know that he throws shit at people and kicks them out of boardrooms? Did you guys know that? Do you guys know how many times he's been kicked out of an office? Or they've attempted to sue him because he said something racist, because he said something misogynistic, because he said something, whatever's going to hurt someone's feelings the most. I don't even think he hates women. I don't even think he is racist, but people like that say things just to hurt your fucking feelings. Is that the type of persona that he gives off? No, it's not, because he has an image. But that image is driven by a person. You guys are driven by an image. That's the difference. Anybody who's really successful at anything is actually driven by the person. You guys aren't driven by the person. You guys are driven by the image. That's why you want things that you don't actually earn. Think about that. If you want a girl to be obsessed with you and you're not obsessed with yourself and you haven't worked on the man, you guys don't ask how to become the type of man she obsesses over. That's what T was talking about when he said, the questions that you guys ask tell us where you are. Now, if I can listen to T recite a question that he read. So hold on, let me start this over. T read a question from an Instagram question. He read a fucking text, and I'm hearing him recite the question, and I can read you. How obvious is it that you're fucking weak? How obvious is it that you're weak that I'm hearing someone else recite a question that they read and I can tell you what kind of person you are? And you think it's not obvious when you're looking a bitch in the eyes having a conversation with her? Of course it's fucking obvious. She's looking you in the eyes seeing this shit. Your eye contact is off, the way you say it's off. The person that you are ain't adding up to the person that you're trying to look like. It don't make no fucking sense. I'm listening to him recite a question that he read, and I can tell you what kind of person you are asking that kind of shit. That should hurt. That should hurt your feelings. But, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just kick it back a notch. The question is not how to make a woman obsess over you. The question is how to be the type of man she obsesses over. And then she'll fall into place with that. Don't ask how you can get people to obsess over you like Michael Jackson. Don't ask how to have a Michael Jackson persona. Just ask, what does Michael Jackson do to become that person? What can you guys do to become a person worthy of that? So you guys don't want to be someone worthy of that. You just want to have that. This whole generation, this whole world is caught up in the image. If you guys could somehow imagine yourself living the life that you imagined, the first thought that comes to your mind in this generation is how other people see you. If you guys had $1 million, the first thing you do with that $1 million is buy something for other people to see you in that you think adds value. The first thing you guys would buy with the $1 million wouldn't be a house because no one's going to see your house. It would be a Lamborghini. It would be a Ferrari. Why? So people can see you in that and they could say, damn, he's rich. Because looking rich is actually more important than being rich to you guys. That's why you guys want a woman obsessed with you, but you don't want to obsess over yourself because the inside has been skipped. Well, let me tell you, just because this generation has that illusion doesn't mean that we are not still living in the real fucking world. This is your life. And if you are not very serious, you will lose it or waste it very quickly. You better get fucking real. Get real about your situation. Stop trying to avoid the very obvious facts. Why would you want a girl to obsess over you if you haven't earned that yet? Become a man she would obsess over. It's very simple. Any question you ask that involves another person, all you have to do is ask yourself, how can I become the person that would garner that reaction? And see, here's the thing. You guys understand this. You guys get this. Because if you were to ask, or if I was to ask you how to make a bitch hate you, you would just say, oh, just do some ignorant shit. Just do some stupid shit. You know, just piss her off. Just disrespect her. She'll hate you. So you understand how to get reactions out of people. You just want to pretend like you don't understand when it comes to the ones that involve any fucking work. You know how to get a bitch to hate you. Just be hateable. But then you ask, how do I get a bitch to obsess over me? Just be obsessible. It's real simple. It's cut and dry. Now, each one of you knows exactly what you need to do to make that improvement. Each one of you guys knows exactly what you need to do to get those types of improvements. You'll say you don't. You'll say you're without direction. But each one of you motherfuckers deals with yourself every day. You know all of your big shortcomings. You know what the fuck is wrong with you. You know if you're still watching porn, lying, cheating, stealing, making excuses. You guys have more flaws than even I could see. And you know what they are. But do you fix them? You guys know you're behind on money. Do you go get more money? Do you go get a second job? You know, for those of you guys that aren't well kept, you're fat, you're sloppy, you're a little soft. You know, you could go to the gym. You know exactly a lot of things that you could do to improve your situation. But you're not. You're on the internet asking a stranger, how can I improve my situation? When the truth is, you know how to improve your situation. What you got, T?
There's one thing that you said at the start there that a lot of people, they obsess over other people more than they obsess over themselves. And that's a symptom, that's kind of the sums up what society is nowadays. Most people, they obsess over the Andrew Tates of the world, they obsess over all these people, all these celebrities, all these people who they will never know or get access to. And as a result, that's why they ask these questions, because they've seen someone else do it. And rather than trying to be that person, they're just wanting to copy someone else. And I've said it on my account before, but I genuinely believe that right now dick riding is at an all-time high. Like the amount of people who just have an inability to think for themselves and just kind of hear what someone else has said and then just run with it, but not even just run with it, just try to copy it word for word, bar for bar. And then they wonder why things don't go their way. Because it's almost like I say if you're playing a video game and the main character of the video game it's meant to be you, but as opposed to playing you, you just go and find a DLC or you go find a variation of the game where you're playing someone else. So as opposed to trying to upgrade your character, as opposed to trying to improve on who you want, whether it's buying new clothes, or it's buying new cars, or it's getting new jewelry, or it's leveling up in terms of the missions that you're doing, as opposed to doing that, you just want to go the shortcut route. You just want to see what someone else has done and then just copy what they've done. And then that's why it doesn't work for you. Because at the end of the day, people can smell when you're being something that you're not. You might not recognize it. Your friends might not recognize it. Just the people around you might not recognize it. But people who understand the game, people who are cognizant and understand the way that energy works can literally look at you. It's like what we spoke about on, I did the last podcast about the art of communication. People can look at you and understand the type of person that you are, who you believe you are, who you think you're going to become, your kind of self-belief. all of that is tied into just the way that you carry yourself. And all of that stems into, or even just asking these kind of questions, it all stems into a lack of self-belief. And I genuinely believe that's the biggest thing that people are missing nowadays. They just don't believe in themselves. And obviously, to believe in yourself, you have to give yourself something to tangibly kind of believe in. So obviously, if you don't have anything to your name, or you don't have any skills, or you don't have any sort of level of competence, why would you believe in yourself? It's like if you're seeing someone who is homeless, for example, you would assume that they're not believing in themselves because obviously they're in a position to where they don't have anything going for them. So there's nothing to believe in. But at the same time, all it takes, it's almost like a snowball. All it takes is to compact the snowball, to get the snow together and start putting it together and then start rolling it down the hill and letting the momentum do its thing. And then when momentum's doing its thing, that's when the self-belief just becomes essentially ridiculous. I think of Conor McGregor when he first started in MMA. Obviously, he had a level of self-belief, he had a level of delusion to where he believed he's going to do X, Y, Z. But that is affirmed when he's actually winning fights, when he's actually moving up the ranks, when he's actually being signed to the UFC, when he's actually winning his third championship, and when he's actually becoming the first ever double championship. Your self-belief stems from not just the accomplishments that you have, but who you actually genuinely believe that you are and who you think you should be. It's not just a matter of something like pride as well. I feel like that's another big thing that a lot of people are missing nowadays. They don't have no sense of pride, they don't have no sense of kind of honor to where they don't have essentially like a moral compass which they believe in, and as a result, that's why they just kind of flake off in different directions, or why they just dick ride people because they don't have anything to believe in. And if you can find a anchor to put yourself in, from there, the rest will literally be history, bro.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. And something you said that was really powerful was other people can see it. And the truth is, these guys don't realize the further up you get, the more those people are going to see it. You're not going to get up in the high realm of things in anything. Doesn't matter. It could be business, it could be women, whatever you're involved in. When you're dealing in the higher level of things, guess what? Those people who made it to the top made it to the top. Why? Because they didn't bullshit themselves. Nobody who's successful in anything bullshits themselves. All those people, whether it's in business, whether it's in beautiful women, the prettier the girl, the more value she sees in herself. Thus, the more capable she's going to see your bullshit. So the farther up you get, the harder it's going to be if you're faking. If you're faking it and you're a punk, there's no way out for you. It's going to get harder the further up you go. You might be able to bullshit yourself. You might be able to bullshit your little friends. But when you go to approach that fucking dime piece, you're going to feel like you don't belong there. You're going to know where you fall short. The further up you get, the harder it's going to be to lie. So my advice to you is stop lying. Stop pretending. Kick some real game. Learn some shit. Scoop up. Become a better man. The game is here for you to pick up. We're knocking at your door and you're just not letting us in. I hope you guys see this shit. Go ahead, T.
And even seeing it, again, that's a matter of believing it as well. For example, you've seen, or people who've been on my account for a minute, they've seen the kind of the way that I operate in terms of, let's say, sex for women. So even like the one we talked about the other day, to where she said, she reached back out, she said, "What's up?" I said, "What's up, big red?" And then she replied, "I love the way that you addressed me." And I said, "I know, that's why you always come back." Even that statement there just lets you know the level of belief that I have in myself and the way that I obsess over myself. And with what a lot of people are taught nowadays, they're almost taught to not have that self-belief, they're taught to be humble. And humble is one of them things to where you should definitely be humble. There's an element of humility that you need, especially when you're a Christian or you're a believer in whatever religion you are. You have to humble yourself before God, right? But at the same time, you are creating the image of God. Therefore, the only person you should really humble yourself towards is God. And outside of that, every other mere mortal is exactly the same. And all of this stems into the fact that most people have these celebrities, have these women, have these essentially these people on pedestals, and as a result, that's why they don't believe in themselves. So let's say that they're looking at a down, let's say it's a woman who's a 9, blonde, got everything you're looking for in a woman. Most guys will look at this woman and think, she's out of my league. And that mindset, that kind of way of thinking is the result of everything we kind of discussed. It's that lack of belief in yourself, also that lack of obsession with yourself. Because when you know who you actually are, there is no such thing as a woman being out of your league, because you understand the man that you are and the man who you can help transform her into. And let me actually break that down so that it makes sense in and of itself. In terms of, you're a certain type of man that can transform this woman into the woman who she wants to be. Because you got to understand this: with every woman, she has dreams, she has aspirations, she has a image of who she wants to become. And what she's essentially looking for in a man is for someone to help her get there. So if you have that self-assurance in yourself, if you have that belief in yourself, that's how the obsession starts. That's how the belief in you starts, because she can see, okay, cool, with this guy, I'm going to become, I'm at position A, and he's going to take me to position B, and that's where I want to be. And that's when she believes in you, and that's when everything's kind of takes care of itself. And that's how you get these women on retainer. That's how you become the man, because you're able to facilitate something that she can't facilitate by herself. And it's funny that Tony and I were speaking about this before we started recording, but really it's a matter of letting her know that you're better than her. And people are going to take this out of context. People are going to kind of hear that statement and think, what do you mean you're being a misogynist? You're being yeah. No, bro. It's just a matter of, again, knowing who you are, knowing where you are going to go, and knowing where you can take people. That delusional self-belief results in you essentially putting yourself on a pedestal, and as a result, people are just kind of going to bend to your will. At least you made a post today saying if your ego is large enough, people bend to your will, and it's so true. But some people won't understand it because their ego is so low, their self-esteem is so low, their self-belief is so low, but they don't even have that kind of mindset to where they've been thinking a way to where people can bend to their will. And I use the example of the Don in that post. And if any of you have watched The Godfather, you understand the way which people approach him. It's in a subservient way. They approach him in a way to where they understand that he is a certain echelon, and as a result, they have to lower themselves. They have to humble themselves. They have to like almost kneel or prostrate before him. And that's the kind of dynamics you want to be having set with, whether it's the people you're working with or it's the woman who you're dealing with. Obviously, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of drive. It takes a lot of self-belief. But if you can genuinely obtain that kind of way of thinking, that way of moving, that way of conducting yourself, it's scary, the thing that people do, because as I said, most people are lacking self-belief and they want to believe in something. That's why they cried and so I right, because they want to believe in something. So if you give them something to believe in, man, man, it's crazy the kind of things that will happen once you do develop that self-belief in yourself.
It's true too. If you were to meet someone big and famous right now, they would not tuck their tail between their legs. They wouldn't tuck their nuts in. They would be themselves. If you were to meet anybody really successful, Mike Tyson, for example, imagine meeting Mike Tyson right now. He's not going to look at you and when he meets you and says, I'm better than you. He knows he's better than you, and he doesn't even hide it. And you just have to be you. And he's going to be Mike Tyson. Who the fuck are you? There's no shamefulness about it. He knows where he's at. He may not know you, but the odds are he's better than you. Now, you guys will play that shit down. You'll meet an average girl today who knows she already thinks she's better than you. The average girl in this country thinks she's too good for the average rich dude. I've seen videos of little college broads, regular 7s and 8s, and some of them got 30 or 40 NBA players in their Snapchats and shit. What does that tell you? What do you think she thinks about herself when she meets you? She's going to think she's better than you. We live in a society where the average woman has been pushed to believe that she's better than the above average man. That's one thing Kevin Samuels brought light to. You got 400-pound women saying, why should they settle for a man who makes $120,000 a year? And see, this ain't about money. But the point is, a 400-pound woman thinks she's settling for a dude who's out of her league. You guys have allowed that. You guys have allowed women to think that they're better than us. And it's really just delusion because we have way more to offer. Any man, generally, has more to offer than a woman. But I digress. If you don't allow your woman to see that you can push and pursue things that she can't pursue, if you don't allow your woman to see that you can work better under pressure, if you don't allow your woman to see that you're capable of doing things she's not capable of doing, then you're not better than her. Because if you can't show her that you're better than her, then you're not. If you work twice as hard, make twice as much money, spend twice as much effort towards the house, spend twice as much effort looking good as she does, but you fucking pussyfoot around the subject, she's still going to think that she's better than you. Think about that for a second. Women are on the internet saying they don't need men. Women are on the internet on their smartphone that women had no hand in making. They got there in a car that they don't even know how to fix, couldn't design, and could have never fucking created. Living in their house that they couldn't have built, that was made in materials and factories they could never work at. This whole aspect of society is on our backs, and yet they think they're worth more than you. Because not enough men went home and said, oh, shut up, to their wife. That's why this happened. Not enough men just say, shut the fuck up. Patrice O'Neal is a great example for this. He'll just tell, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You don't know shit. You know, when's the last time you told a girl she don't know shit? Now, am I saying that telling a girl that she don't know shit is the fucking key to life? Yes, that's what I'm fucking saying. You let your girl know when she's wrong, and you let her know when you're doing better than her. It's not a hard concept to grasp because they are not afraid to let you know when they think they're better than you. You're actually approaching the situation. She understands a hierarchy. You guys want to play as if there is no hierarchy. You guys want to play as if one person can't be better than the other. And this is a game that women actually encourage. Anytime a man steps up and says he designed this, women could never do it. There's a million women saying you can't say that. And there's a million men saying you can't say that. You can't say that. We're all the same. That's not the truth. We're not the same. I'm better than her. You know, generally, I'm better than most women on this earth. In accountability, in what I can produce, and what I can create. You know, some of you guys can't say that. I can. But think about it like this. Women understand the hierarchy. They play on the hierarchy. They meet you, and they automatically assume that they're better than you. And you guys, you can't approach her with the idea like you're going to show her different. You can't approach her with your tail tucked between your legs and no nuts, wondering if she's going to like you or not, because then she's not. And you can't approach with the idea of equality, because women don't understand equality. For as much as they talk about equality, and equality is every talking point that women have, women don't understand equality. Women understand that one person is better than the other, that one person has more value than the other. And in today's society, they've been allowed to believe that they have the value. But if you go up trying to play equality with them, they're going to think they're better than you. When's the last time you told a woman you're better than her? Have you ever told a woman that? Have you ever told a woman that you're better than her, that you have more to offer than her? And you don't have to be an asshole about it. You don't have to say, bitch, I'm better than you. You can. That's one way to get the point across, but have you ever actually shown your girl that you're better than her, you have more to offer than her? Furthermore, if you don't approach with that mentality, that's the energy you're going to carry, that you don't think you're better than her. Did you ever consider that women want a man that's better than them? That's why they don't like you guys, because you're not better than them. And the only way for her to know that you're better than them is if you tell her. How else is she going to know? Trust me, she wants you to tell her. Now, she might argue, she might cry, she might even block you, but the ones who are ready for the information are going to be receptive to it. And the only way to really have a woman is for her to understand that you're better than her. She don't want a man that's not better than her. She wants a man that's better. So if you go into this shit with the mentality that you're not better or that there's equality, they don't understand equality. If a girl is working at Tesla and she's making 50 grand a year, and you're working at Tesla and you're making 50 grand a year, she's hustling and you're broke. That's how women's brains work. She's a woman boss. She's on her grind, except for these broke dudes she works with. Because if you don't make more than her, you're broke. A girl could be 5'1", and you could be 2 feet taller than her. And if you tell her you're 5'8", she'll believe it. They have no concept of shit like that. You have to let her know. You're doing her a favor by letting her know that you're more valuable than her. Because then she gets to have you. But you're not going to have her if she doesn't think she's more valuable. This shit is not rocket science. But you have to realize this. You have to behave and believe that you are better than her. And if you don't let her know, she's not going to see it. There are women who stay-at-home moms with husbands who work 12-hour shifts. And because she changes diapers and has a lunch ready for the baby in the middle of the day and then goes shopping at Target, she truly believes she works just as hard as him. She really believes that shit. Why? Because he lets her. He comes home from his 12-hour shift, sits down for a second. She's like, oh, you never do anything around the house. Shut up, bitch. You know, that's the proper response to that. But no one says it anymore. People aren't realistic. Women are a lot more durable than you think. Women are very strong. You know, they talk about how strong they are. It's true. They're very, very strong. Very, very resilient. You're doing them a disservice by not calling her a bitch. You're doing her a disservice by not telling her to shut up. You're not telling her to shut up. You're hurting her. You're allowing her to live in delusions. You should be ashamed of yourself. All of you guys who've never told a girl that you're better than her, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself for all the women in this life you've hurt. The amount of women you've hurt by not telling them that you're better than them, or to shut up, or to point out the truth of things, you should be ashamed of yourself. You've hurt so many women by letting them live in their fucking delusions. And you've hurt every man she had to deal with afterwards. I hope you know that. I don't know how you fucking sleep at night for not telling these broads where the fuck they stand in this hierarchy. Remember this, there is no equality. If you're not better than her, you're less than her. Like that shit, that movie, what did he say? If you ain't first, you're last. That's the truth. If you ain't first, you're last. If you can't point out to her how you're better than her, she has no reason to fuck with you. If you can't show her that you're better than her, you're not. That's all I got.
No, man, that's a whole bunch of game, which I really hope for most of you, not only you taking notes, but you're actually digesting the stuff. This is why I recommend you listen at the minimum 3 times, because the first time you just listen, right? Obviously, it's a new podcast, or it's a new episode rather, so you're just kind of digesting the information. But the more that you listen, the more you begin to understand the subtleties, and then as a result, you really begin to digest it again. You really begin to soak it up and actually be able to apply it, because on the surface, what we've just discussed, it seems simple, but if you really digest and if you really break down what was said, this will put you ahead of everyone. This will put you in the 1% of men who actually understand the way in which the world works. This is a whole bunch of stuff which you never heard before, you never will hear before, or you never will hear again, because people don't understand. So I implore you, take notes, listen at least 3 times, and then once you're ready, join the schools, join the syndicate, join me and my boys, join Coney's school, and that's how we'll take you to that next level. But Tony, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, that's it, man. These motherfuckers need to take themselves serious enough to plug into one of our programs, and take themselves serious enough to actually try to make some changes in their life.
Real spill. Well, we got stuff to do, places to be. As I said, digest that game, and have a blessed day. Peace.
Yes, sir.